Well, good evening, everybody. This is Michael here, and I wanted to go through a little bit regarding. Seriously, need a new blue dry erase here. I wanted to look at the fact of how do you empower yourself? How do you empower yourself when things are different or as things are difficult? One of the best ways to do it, and this would be a shorter video, I believe, is to imagine the best possible outcome. Right? Whatever circumstance is happening, whatever thing that you feel like maybe there's something going on in your life, and maybe it's a medical thing, maybe it's a medical thing with a loved one, maybe it's a relationship issue, maybe it's a job issue, right? Maybe it's something that you want to pursue, something that you want to do. You're not sure how to do that, how to make it work. Imagine the best possible outcome, because when we imagine the best possible outcome, we are choosing to take and set our mind on things above. And I believe that is Colossians 3:2, is to set your mind on things above. I'm going to write that over here. It's in the New Testament, Colossians 3:2. Set your mind on things above, right? Because here's the thing that we have in every situation. In every situation, and hear me out here, I am not talking about negating your feelings. I am not talking about negating the reality of some situations and bypassing the feelings that come up in those moments. But our true power lies in our choice, lies in our response to whatever is happening at the time. It's about embracing those feelings and also expressing whatever may need to be expressed in a healthy way and taking that pause in there so that that response comes out in a healthy way or as healthy as possible in that moment, right? When we're looking at these situations in our life, our mind is going to go one of two places. And unfortunately, most of us, myself included at times, my mind will follow the old patterns, the old neural network, the old neural connections in the brain that have been established. It will follow those like a river follows when it's already cut and made its way. The river just flows downhill if more water comes down it, right? And it's generally a lower frequency. So you have two options when you have something before you or situation at hand, is imagining the best possible outcome, which is operating from a place of higher frequency, right? That's setting your mind on things above, setting your mind on things that are good and pure and lovely, and operating from this place of higher frequency, which is the place of love. If you will go out and you look at emotional scales, you can either look at, I believe it's David Hawkins. He has some great stuff on maps of consciousness, and he has a map of consciousness scale. And love is up here, fear/hate, something like that, is down here at the bottom, and a whole bunch of variations in between. Esther Hicks also has an emotional scale. That emotional scale is, again, it's the higher with love up here, and then fear and things like jealousy and different things like that, and worry operating down in these lower levels, in these lower frequencies of these scales. So if you find that your natural propensity is just to worry about things, there's another verse, and it's in Matthew 6. I can't remember the exact verse, where Jesus is saying, do not worry. The Father clothes the lilies of the field, provides food for the birds. The birds do not sow, and yet they reap. And everything is provided, right? Everything that you need will be provided. There are so many scriptures that are about do not worry, do not worry, do not worry. And I know so many people who simply worry, 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 worry. They'll even say that they've handed it over to God, and yet they're continually, when they talk about it, they're in the place of worry. They're in this lower frequency, right? And if you are operating from that lower frequency, then you're going to be generating and putting out, you are electromagnetic, you're going to be generating and putting out a vibration of fear and worry of all the things that could go wrong, that you're a victim to this circumstance, that there's no way through, that there's no way out, that, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How am I going to survive now? How am I going to make it? And we negate and forget about the fact that we're here because we have actually made it through everything that we previously thought we couldn't make it through. We have all had those experiences. And it is our responsibility, it is our privilege of saying, this is part of your free will to be able to say, I get to choose. I get to set my mind on things above. I get to direct my mind. And instead of, even if the path is worn, to go to the lower frequency, once you notice that you were in that fear, that you were in that worry, all you have to do is say, I see you. I notice you. Right? I notice the worries that this part of self is bringing forward. I notice the fears that are there. And maybe some of the things that you're saying, maybe they feel very true because of past experiences or something. But we are in a new moment. We are in a moment of now. This is not then. This is not in the past, right? And here in this moment, I get to choose that I am not going to continue down this path. I am not going to continue to prime this fear and this worry and perseverate on that. Instead, I'm going to say, I see you. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to set my mind on things above. I'm going to look at, imagine what could be the best possible outcome of this. And then feel yourself as you imagine that. Feel yourself opening to the possibilities of what the best possible outcome is. You don't have to know what the best possible outcome is. You don't have to figure it out. Just open yourself so that you can receive what the best possible outcome could be. And even if the external outcome out here doesn't happen to go the way that you want it to go, it's another reason to come back to this place and say, okay, what is the best possible outcome now, moving forward from this point in time? It's always looking at each and everything as a new opportunity, as a new place from which we get to choose, that we are not a victim of the things that are happening out here. Even if they don't go our way, we are still not a victim of those things, that there is something in this for us to learn. And we can either in that moment go the route of the low frequency and the old ways and the old patterns and the old neural pathways of fear and worry, or we can nip that in the butt and we can say, no, I see you, but I'm not doing that. We're going to go here. I'm going to come from a place of love. I'm going to acknowledge that maybe there's pain here, maybe there's hurt here, maybe there's some sorrow here about the way this is going, about the way that it's turning out. But I also know, and I can also set my intent and my focus, because where you focus your attention, that's where your energy is going to go, right? That's why we want to take that and set our mind on things above. Nobody's going to do it for you. You have to be the one that does it. And this is a practice. Learning how to do this is a practice. And there's times that even when you're good at it, you're going to stumble, and you're going to trip up, and you're going to catch yourself, and then you're going to say, "Oh, wait, I'm doing that again." Okay, let's refocus. Let's take a moment and set my mind on things above. And what is the best possible outcome? Imagine the best possible outcome. Let your imagination get involved in it. And Another way of saying this is everything is always working out for me. Even if I don't understand it, even if I can't make sense of it, I know that everything is working out for me, right? Because life is working for me. It's not happening to me. When you think that life is happening to you and these things are happening to you and there's no way out or there's no way through, there's no way around, there's no way to get beyond whatever is happening. There's no way to bring this thing that you want to bring into fruition or manifestation. There's no way to be able to do that because there's too many obstacles in the way. Anytime that you're thinking of that kind of thinking, you're in that lower frequency, and we want to raise that frequency by choosing to set our mind on things above. And it is a practice. So, as in all practices, always have grace with yourselves. I always used to think, that masters, and I'm talking about masters in any field, but specifically for my frame of reference, I was speaking of masters and grandmasters in certain martial arts. I always looked at them. It's like take Yoda, for instance, from Star Wars, right? A Jedi master, right? Like there's no more faults left. And the simple fact is that's not true. Even the master is still learning new things. Even the master gets out of alignment from time to time. But he or she has learned ways of moving themselves, of recognizing that and working with it and moving right back into alignment with whatever that is. And it's because so much of it, they are working with their internal state. They are working with things such as setting your mind on things above, imagining the best possible outcome, practicing these things so you can more consistently have the best possible outcome, and operating from a place that says everything is always working out for me. I am not a victim. You see, because when we choose this, when we choose to set our mind on things above, it is in our choosing, right? That is our freedom and our power, and that pulls us up out of that victim mode to be able to say, maybe this isn't happening to me. Maybe this is happening for me. Maybe this obstacle here is here for a reason. Maybe the obstacle is more in your mind than anything else. That's something that I have found a lot, is that the obstacle is in my mind. I will want to race at times instead of working right here, right where I am right now. I want to go, but what about this? What about this thing down here? How am I here, right here, but I'm thinking about this? Well, how am I going to account for that? And I have to continually bring myself back and say, this is like 50 steps down the road or 100 steps or whatever it is down the road here, right? You are here. Focus on this and focus on the next couple of steps. Focus on the next couple of responses. Focus on the next best possible outcome from this moment of now into the next moment. We cannot go wrong when we take a step back and we breathe, we pause, we slow down, and we don't simply let the old patternings within us, the old nervous system pattern, the old neural pathway patterns in our brain, we don't simply allow them to just continually fire over and over and over and do whatever they want. We are responsible for saying, nope, I'm going to cut that one off. I'm going to stop that. And I'm going to create a branch off of that neural pathway and create a new neural pathway, a new way of being. I have a thing on my phone actually that says a new way of being requires a new way of thinking. A new way of thinking comes back to this, setting your mind on things above. That's where your power is. That's where your freedom is. That's where your free will is. The ability to choose and know that in any circumstance that you're in, you always have a choice. It may not feel like it. I lived in that space for years and years and years of my life where it felt like I was trapped. There was no way out. All of the options were constrained. But truth is, those were all stories. And they had me operating within a very narrow scope of possibility. And I had to work on branching that and exploding that out to think of more possibilities. What is really possible here? And what I came to find is that I was really the one that was helping to co-create these scenarios and these setups where it felt like I was trapped at times. So give this a listen. Go back and sit with yourself and think, what are some places in your life where you can take some time to imagine the best possible outcome, where you can state that everything is always working out for me. And even notice, maybe when you say those things out loud, maybe your body is telling you something different, like, yeah, I don't believe that. That's okay. Just do some introspection then with that part of yourself that's not believing that, and dig in a little bit further and say, okay, well, what's here then? What else is here? Because I want to have us focusing on what is the best possible outcome. Let's face it, there are some really difficult situations in life. And even in those very difficult situations, there can still be what would be considered the best possible outcome. And we may not understand why things go the way they do at times. But somewhere in there, there is always a best possible outcome. It's that silver lining that people talk about, right? What's the silver lining in all of this? But we have to begin to train our minds to focus on these things, to set our mind where we want it to be, and to make sure it is operating from the highest frequency of love and not down here in the lower frequencies of worry and fear that has us spiraling downward, right? As always, blessings and love to each of you.